Greetings from Tokyo. I hope you're well. Um, Let me just show really briefly the other horror films that I have. And here are some classics. So there's this, which was recently released by the Criterion Collection, Spine number 909, which is Night of the Living Dead. Again, what can I say about this film that has not already been said? Um, this is perhaps one of my favorite films of all time, despite the fact that I think some of the acting is poor, despite the fact that I think some of the situations are a bit ropey. Um, Despite that, notwithstanding those, superficial weaknesses, shall we say, this is a true American film masterpiece. Not, no doubt about it. And it's wonderful to see the complexity of the characterizations. Ben is the main character, and yet, I'm so sympathetic to his plight, and I want to root for him, and I want him to succeed. I find him to be a really fascinating character, and I think he is so great. He is the great hero of this film, and yet he is so wrong. He is so unbelievably wrong. Cooper is so right. He is so right, and I find that the older I get, the more I find Harry Cooper to be likable, and the less likable I find Ben to be the older I get, because I find Ben to be ultimately not a very smart character. He wasn't thinking. Maybe it was being in that very sort of being slightly panicked, but he. I think he didn't think things through the way he should have. I think Harry Cooper had a better, more logical way forward, and it was yeah, it's interesting in my mind to think about the Ben Cooper dynamic. Again, I love Ben, and I think he is a wonderfully heroic character, but he made some very interesting choices that ended up, causing grave consequences to both himself and the rest of the people in the farmhouse. But again, this is just an example of how fascinating I think this film is, even today. This was released in 1968, and now it's 2018. So this is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. What a wonderful film. George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. And of course, the next film I'm going to show, you know what it is, right? It's this. But this is the Anchor Bay DVD release. Now, I got this when it was released, so this had all the um, the versions that were available. So it had the original theatrical cut, it had the director's cut, which is a little bit longer. It had the the European cut, and it also had a fourth disc, which was filled with documentaries. And it also, I think, had a comic book, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, yes, it's still here. Huh. It's still here. So there is the comic book. Wow. Right. Great. I don't have the Blu-ray of this film. I don't know if I'll get it because I'm pretty satisfied with this DVD set as it is, the Ultimate Edition, and also I don't. I know that maybe there's a German Blu-ray. Maybe I'll consider that. But whatever I do get, I want to make sure that whatever Blu-ray is out there, I want it to have all of the versions of the film, because I find myself liking one version one day and liking another version another day. It really depends on my mood, I suppose. Again, this is a classic, so I don't think I can add anything substantive to the conversation about this film, Dawn of the Dead. But just as in terms of my own brief reactions and comments to the film, this is such a wonderful film in the way it shows the tactics of these four people as they're trying to barricade themselves in this mall. You know, they go through step by step. Really, they think of contingency plans. They make sure the doors are blocked with the trucks in order to prevent the zombies from getting leverage in order, which can cause them to break the glass, etc. They have the alarms set up. They have all the they make sure that the corridor that leads to their hideout is blocked with a fake wall, etc. So it's a real. I love those sorts of step by step processes of of protecting themselves and barricading themselves in the mall. And of course, there's the human story as well, which is amongst the tensions that arise between these four people. Um, yeah, I find the whole scenes with Fran to be so kind of tragically ironic. On the one hand, at the early part of the film, she wants to prove that she's just as tough as the rest of the guys, and in fact, you see her, right? She seems to be handling herself well with a gun. She can, you hit one of the zombies from quite a distance away when she's up on the rooftop, while all the other people are down there, down at the ground, with the trucks. So she wants to hold her own, and she wants to show these guys that she can hold her own, and that she is just as tough as the rest of them. And later on, she's the one who learns how to fly the helicopter and all that. But at the same time, it's just so ironic when we get to the scenes of the three of them inside their hideout. She's the one doing the cooking, and she's the one in the kitchen. It's just so tragically ironic, and I love how George Romero gives us these little kind of jabs, and he's so witty and so sharp, and so just he's got his finger on the pulse. He knows exactly what to show, and the little snippets. He doesn't go overboard with his messaging. This is such a great film in so many ways. It's amazing, and not to mention the fact that the gore effects are really spectacular and mind blowing, and guts blowing as well, I suppose. Yes, yes. This is a great film, Dawn of the Dead, and I will never give up this DVD set for anything. Last is Day of the Dead. This is also the DVD. I'm thinking about getting the Blu-ray from, I think it's is it Scream Factory? Maybe I'll get that one of these days. But I'm pretty satisfied with this DVD. Again, this is also Anchor Bay. Here's Bub with a little Velcro seal action going there, which is really nice. Whoops. There's a little thing that fell out. This is a 2-disc DVD set, and I really like this set. It has a really great commentary. It has two commentaries actually, but the first commentary is with George Romero and Tom Savini and Cletus Anderson and actress Laurie Cardill, the lovely Laurie Cardill. But the second commentary is where I think all the action is, because that's with filmmaker Roger Avery, and he really has some excellent insights in the film, and he's so enthusiastic about the film Day of the Dead. And listening to his commentary is really refreshing. I love it. He there's a thing that he talks about in particular about Captain Rhodes, and how he loves one of the lines that Captain Rhodes gives. The Laurie Cardill character is talking about, they're early on they're talking about having you know making explanations about what's going on with the studies. We've given you all this stuff, we've given you all this information, and Captain Rhodes just stops and he says, "You've given us a mouthful of Greek salad." or something like that. And Roger Avery is talking about how he loves that line so much. He doesn't, you don't quite know what it means, but it's just so perfect, and it's just so, it's the perfect Romero touch. Romero had a really nice way of showing so much with so little in such an economical way. He does this with his editing, but he also does this with his dialogue, and that's just one example. Um, one more thing, of course, Captain Rhodes is one of the greatest characters in the history of horror cinema. Joe Pilato, you did a great service. You created this a-hole of a character. He's a real a-hole, but you are with him. And what a spectacular way to go. Captain Rhodes, man, man, unbelievable. What an unforgettable character. Anyway, so that's Day of the Dead. Um, at this point in time, I don't have Land of the Dead. Actually, no, I do have Land of the Dead. It's on DVD, but I don't know where it is. It's in a box somewhere in a closet. And I have Diary of the Dead, believe it or not. I don't have what is it? I don't even remember what it's called. Uh, the one with the families. Yeah, I really should have been more prepared, but it's kind of unfortunate that I'm not that enthusiastic about those other films. I don't have the Blu-rays that were released by Scream Factory. Land of the Dead and the Dawn of the Dead remake. I don't know. I never really got into the Running Zombies remake. I mean, I didn't hate the remake of Dawn of the Dead, but it's, I don't know. It feels a bit too. Um, yeah, I mean, every time I see it, I mean, I no offense to Zack Snyder and the people who made that film. I know everyone worked hard on that film, and I can see it has a lot of fans, and very, very rightly so. I think it does a fine job, but every time I see it, I'm sorry, I just like to go back to the original Dawn of the Dead. I just like the slow moving zombies. I like the slow, methodical way things slowly, steadily deteriorate. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I guess the older film, I think, fits my personality, I suppose. I don't know. And then as for Land of the Dead, I'm still on the fence. Oh, I'm sorry. What was it? Survival of the Dead. That was the film I was looking. I was trying to remember the title of. Anyway, so back to Land of the Dead. The yes, it's a tough film for me to think about. I really want to love that film. But it's yeah, you know, uh, yeah, it's really tough because I love those three films by George Romero so much. I love these films so much, and George Romero here brings me so much happiness, and he brought everyone so much happiness and love and just great entertainment and really thought-provoking entertainment. I love George Romero so much. I so much so that these glasses are I bought these glasses because I was so inspired by George Romero's glasses, those huge giant Goliath glasses. I hope this is a similar type. So I love George Romero so much. I wear these in honor of the man. But Land of the Dead, I'm so sorry. It's very difficult for me to get into. And yeah, it's not one that I'm rushing to get on Blu-ray. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll try to give it another chance, but it's I don't I'm I can only watch so many films in a day, so um, maybe if someone out there who is very enthusiastic about Land of the Dead can help me become more kind of inspired to watch it, I'd really appreciate the kind of the a little bit of motivation, perhaps. Um, Yeah, so that's Land of the Dead and Dire of the Dead. I'm sorry, I mean I have the DVD, but I actually saw it in the theater when it was first released, but it's a bit too on the nose and too. Uh, Again, I hate to say it, but a little bit too pretentious, and it was pretty disappointing for me. And yes, I didn't even bother to watch Survival of the Dead. I didn't know how to get a hold of the copy, and even now I'm not interested. I suppose I know that I have the first three films here, and I think from my point of view, so much discussion of humanity and many hypotheses about humanity that George Romero set forth in these films. I think it's fully and adequately discussed here in this body of work. So much so that I don't feel the need to go any further. I think this is rich enough as it is, and there's still so much to explore in this that I have yet to fully appreciate. That I think this is enough for me. Again, with the exception of Land of the Dead. Again, if anyone would like to show me the light, as it were, I'd be very happy to listen. Anyway, that's it for this Dead series. Thank you very much.